Joining us today for a discussion of industrial cybersecurity is Andrew Ginter, who's Vice President of Industrial Security at Waterfall Security Solutions. Welcome.
Hello, Sid. Thanks for having me.
To begin this discussion, would you just tell us a little bit about Waterfall Security Solutions? Just give us a little to frame the discussion today.
Sure. Waterfall is a technology provider. We produce a family of products that's based on our flagship unidirectional security gateways, and that is either based on the flagship or complements it. We're focused on protecting the safety and the reliability of industrial control systems. Historically, we've been strongest in power generation, upstream and midstream oil and gas and water systems, but today increasingly it's all about refining and train controls, and it's an exciting time. The technology, very briefly, is it replaces firewalls. We're stronger than firewalls. It's a combination of hardware and software. The hardware sends information in one direction. So there's a fiber optic transmitter you can send, but it can't receive. It has no receiver in the chipset. There's a receiver on the other side. We can send information out. We can monitor the industrial control system, and it's physically impossible to send anything back in that might put the control system at risk. And there's a whole family of software connectors to deal with all sorts of industrial protocols and industrial systems.
Okay, sounds great. Given that kind of security level, we've all heard about the recent attacks on the Ukrainian power system. And I'm just saying, what do you make of that? How worried should we be of those kind of attacks?
I would be worried. This is a class of attack that people have been talking about for some time, that people have been saying that attack capability is widely available. And many of us have been ignoring the threat. So there isn't a lot of detail in the published reports. My understanding of what happened, based on what little detail has been released, is that it was a remote control attack. It sounded like a manual remote control attack. The attack took 30 minutes. It's as if someone was there clicking through the screens, turning things off, remotely, disabling breakers. If it was some sort of automated attack, it would have been like this: in 3 seconds, everything shut down. But it sounded remote control, and we've been raising the warnings about the risks of remote control for some time. And of course, with the gateways in place, nothing would get in.
Okay. Well, if that's true, then what would you recommend that companies, owner-operators, do to protect themselves against those kinds of attacks?
Well, I guess the short answer is use something stronger than firewalls and be deeply suspicious of the need for remote control. If we can remote control something from our cell phones while we're stopped at a traffic light, so can the bad guys. If we can do it from our laptops in the hotel room, people are exposed. A unidirectional gateway in place, or one of our family of products, would permit monitoring of industrial systems. It would permit us to profit from access to real-time data without ever putting those industrial systems at risk.
But what if the plant requires, has a legitimate need for remote control? We can't go back to the dark ages, so we have to do something to address that.
That's right. There's a family of solutions. It's always possible to do the right thing for the plant. The bottom line is that when data flows out to the world, it's just data. Let IT look after the data. IT does a great job looking after the data. When anything comes into the plant, really it's not data coming into the plant, it's control. And that flow of control into the plant, be it weather information, be it control recipes, needs a much higher degree of scrutiny, of discipline over that flow than firewalls can provide. And so, again, our family of products is designed not just for continuous monitoring, but for disciplined remote control without the risks that accompany, the kind of stuff that you get with remote desktop, going in and doing whatever you want.
Well, since you just mentioned that remote desktop, remote control attacks is an issue for corporate systems as well. Do you find, is there market for gateways, your kind of gateways there?
Well, we don't see
because they seem very good. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, we don't see the gateways used on corporate networks. We are seeing them used in the cloud. When industrial networks need to be connected to cloud providers, the providers are worried about attacks, pivoting through the cloud back in. And so we're deploying them on the cloud to protect the cloud system so that they cannot be used to propagate attacks from one client to another. But on the corporate systems, no, you need web pages coming in, there's a lot of bidirectional stuff that happens. On, again, the control systems, we can send stuff out, but anything that comes in deserves a much higher degree of scrutiny, something stronger than firewalls.
That's very interesting. Do you think there's still room for things, given your focus on trying to keep things out, do you still think there's still room for things like the industrial Internet of Things today? Because it's going to just expand, I would think, the number of cyber attacks. I mean, we really see that gathering steam, obviously, and like most companies do.
Obviously, absolutely. The Internet of Things is coming. The industrial Internet of Things is coming. The thing that's different about the industrial Internet of Things versus the Internet of Things is the perimeter. All the gurus on the Internet of Things are saying the perimeter is dissolving, firewalls are going away, it's all on the Internet. That's not true on industrial systems because every piece of information coming in is possibly a control. Why would we connect the safety systems on our catalytic crackers into the Internet? There's no reason to permit those attacks to come in, to permit people all over the Internet to test the defenses of our safety systems, much less our control systems. And there's always a risk. It doesn't matter how clever the software is. All software has bugs. All software can be attacked. Why would we expose those 0 days to the world? And so the difference between the Internet of Things and the industrial Internet of Things is the perimeter, and this is what Waterfall is all about.
Well, thank you, Andrew, for a very interesting and informative discussion.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we've been speaking with Andrew Ginter, Vice President of Industrial Security at Waterfall Security Solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.